After World War II, many survivors of the concentration camps were finally liberated from captivity. The bars that once confined them disappeared, and the guards who had watched over them left. The war was over, but something unsettling remained. 3 people kept waking up at the same time. They ate anxiously. They asked for permission to move. They lived like prisoners, trapped inside a prison. Not because they wanted to, but because the horror and fear simply hadn't left them yet. The past was no longer outside. It was now deeply inside them. They had left the camp, but the trauma and horror of the extermination hadn't truly left them. That's not just ancient history. That still happens even today, in our own time, in the world we live in. The current human problem is that even though there are no barbed wires or uniforms present anymore, the past still, in many ways, continues to rule and shape many people's lives. It haunts us with questions that never rest. Why did I do that? Why didn't I act differently? Why did I say what I said? Many times, we don't need anyone else to punish us. Many times, we punish ourselves. We define ourselves by the mistakes that can no longer be changed. We ask God for forgiveness, but we don't know how to stop accusing ourselves. And at other times, we do something that is just as destructive, if not even more so. We use someone else's past as a weapon against them. We remember it, we repeat it, we exaggerate it, and we bring it up whenever it suits us best. In fact, and this is even more serious, we sometimes even go so far as to rewrite history itself in order to protect our own image and reputation. We often tend to downplay our own actions and at the same time exaggerate those of others, and we call what is really just self-defense the truth. In this way, the past stops being simply a memory and instead becomes a kind of courtroom, both against ourselves and against others. When the past is allowed to rule, no one is truly free. We just move to a different prison. Now, there's a really uncomfortable truth. The Bible is, in fact, brutally honest and straightforward about this particular problem. Israel, after all, left Egypt as a free people. That's a historical fact within the biblical account. There were no chains, no whips, no overseers. But when the first real difficulty or challenge appeared, they said, "We were better off before." Not because Egypt was good, but because it was familiar. They had learned how to survive, but not truly how to live. They were free on the outside, however, still slaves on the inside. And this is exactly where Jesus comes in, right at the point where the past still rules. He doesn't deny it, he doesn't minimize it, he takes it seriously. And that's exactly why, when he talks about forgiveness, he doesn't present it as just a nice feeling or simply a moral obligation. He presents it not only as liberation, but also as a form of coherence and consistency. Jesus says something that is uncomfortable and challenging. If you forgive others for their wrongdoings, God will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive, your Father in heaven will not forgive you either. Matthew 6, verses 14 to 15. This isn't a threat. It's a diagnosis. You simply can't receive a grace that you consistently refuse to practice in your daily life. In the same way, you cannot truly ask for freedom while you are still using pain as your judge and your guide. Jesus knows something that almost no one wants to admit. The past doesn't just hurt, it also gives power. Power to accuse, the power to justify harshness, and the power to feel morally superior, such as the sense of being right. That's why he tells an uncomfortable parable. A man is forgiven a debt that is so large, so overwhelming, that it would be impossible for him to ever pay it back. Yet after receiving this act of mercy, he turns around and demands every last cent from someone else who owed him money. The problem wasn't justice, it was inconsistency. Shouldn't you also, in the same way, have shown mercy to others, just as I had shown mercy to you? Matthew 18:33. We ask for grace, but act like judges. And Jesus dismantles that courtroom. When Jesus says, "Let the one who is without sin cast the first stone," in John 8:7, he's not justifying wrongdoing. He's dismantling the inner courtroom from which we all think we have the right to condemn. Something profound happens there. The past gradually loses its power as a weapon, and it slowly starts to become a place of deep transformation. Therefore, I want to share with you 4 practical decisions to let go of the past. Number 1, stop using the past as your identity. The past explains things, but it doesn't define who you are today. When you turn mistakes, failures, or wounds into your identity, you're no longer the one making decisions. Your story is. Letting go of the past isn't about forgetting. It's about stopping living in reaction to it. Number 2, stop punishing yourself for what was already your mistake. Faced. There are guilts that have already been acknowledged, recognized, even forgiven. But you keep on reopening the case file again and again, over and over, for something that happened so many years ago. That is definitely not humility. It's living tied to a version of yourself that no longer exists. Christ does not set you free just so that you can become your own jailer. Number 3, be very careful with those people who only ever come back into your life when they need some information from you, and not for any other reason. There are people in your life who never once called you, who were never truly there for you during the tough times, who never offered to help you with anything at all, and who never really cared about you when you needed it the most. And suddenly they show up with a lot of questions. Not to heal, not to reconcile, but to ask, to dig, to get information so they can piece together stories they never lived. Not every reunion is healthy. Not every curiosity is love. Sometimes protecting your process is also part of letting go of the past. You don't have to explain yourself to those who didn't walk with you. And number 4, let go of the right to be a judge if you want to be free. As long as you keep using the past, yours or someone else's, as a courtroom, you'll stay tied down. Jesus does not ask you to deny what you see or feel. Instead, he asks you to put down the gavel of judgment, because no one can truly live in genuine freedom while still feeling the need to condemn others in order to feel safe themselves. Eva Moses Kor was only 10 years old when she was taken away to the infamous concentration camp known as Auschwitz, together with her twin sister Miriam. She didn't enter a place of symbolic punishment. No, it was a factory of dehumanization. There, she was reduced to nothing more than a number, an object for cruel and brutal medical experiments, a body over which others made decisions without ever asking for her permission. But she survived. But making it out alive did not mean that she was truly free. For many long decades, Auschwitz was not simply behind her. Instead, it was inside her, present in the anger, in the pain, in the relentless, unending remorse, and in the overwhelming feeling that her story had been forever hijacked and overshadowed by what had been done to her. And then she did something many people didn't understand, something that was even criticized. She forgave. Yes, she forgave. Not because evil ever stopped being evil, not because justice ever stopped mattering, not because the horror could somehow be downplayed or diminished. She forgave because she understood something crucial. Continuing to hold on to hate did not punish those who had hurt her in the past. Instead, it only punished her. Eva explained that forgiveness was not a gift meant for her abusers. It was an internal break, a significant turning point in her life, a way of saying, "My past happened, but it will no longer have the power to control my life." That day, the concentration camp lost its power over her forever, not because it disappeared from her memory, but because it stopped deciding her present. Forgiveness didn't really change history. It changed who was truly in control of your life. And that's exactly what's at stake when we talk about the difficult process of letting go of the past. Not denying what hurt you, not justifying the completely unjustifiable, but bravely and consciously deciding that pain will no longer be the master of your life. That the past, that heavy, invisible backpack you have carried for so long, you will no longer carry it. Because when the past stops ruling, freedom stops being just an idea and starts becoming a real experience. The invitation today is let go of the past that binds you. Let it go. As long as you keep punishing yourself endlessly, you are not free. As long as you imprison others in their past, you aren't free either. Jesus didn't come to help you cope with prison. He came to open the door. If the Son sets you free, you will be completely and truly free. John 8:36. Not entirely free from memories, but free from living a life that is ruled by them. Therefore, as we stand at the threshold of this new year that is about to begin, with God's gracious help, with Christ's loving help, May you truly be able to let go of the past and open your heart to see the wonderful future that God has lovingly prepared for those who make Him their Lord and Savior. May God bless you.
I've carried the weight of shame and pain I didn't know how to name. Old regrets buried deep, silent wounds I never showed. I held my scars like proof tied in my hands close to my chest. But you met me there, not with blame, but with mercy. God spoke to me and said, let go of the barbed wire of your past. You're gripping shame and regret, trying to carry what I already carry. The longer you hold it, the deeper it cuts. I didn't ask you to bleed for your past. I already did that on the cross. Open your hand so my grace can begin to heal you. Nothing is wasted, not with me. Even the dirt of your past, even the years you thought were lost, I will use them, not to shame you, but to grow something new. I'm not who I was. You've turned the soil. What tried to bury me became the place where hope took root. Now when I look back, I don't see failure. I see the ground where grace began to grow. Nothing is wasted, not with me. Even the dirt of your past, even the years you thought were lost, I will use them, not to shame you, but to grow